This is Nightline and I am Natasha. Busst. The top stories. Prime Minister stresses appointment or extension of judges' contracts must follow proper procedures. And ground subsidence identified as the primary cause of the Putra Heights blast. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim on Monday stressed that he has never interfered in the affairs of the judiciary or in court decisions. He said the appointment or extension of contracts for civil servants and judges must follow established procedures and should not be influenced by any campaigns or pressure from any party. Anwar reaffirmed his commitment to the independence of the judiciary during the monthly assembly with staff of the Prime Minister's department. He also criticized those who allege that the Prime Minister holds absolute power over the appointment or extension of the judge's tenure.
Ada yang mengatakan ini kuasa Perdana Menteri mutlak. Tidak. Kalau sudah faham perlembagaan, sudah tahu prosesnya. Ada Suruhanjayanya, ada Perdana Menterinya, ada yang Pertuan Agungnya. Begitu juga pelantikan. Kalau pelantikan baru yang Pertuan Agung kemudian dibentangkan untuk perbincangan dengan majlis raja-raja. Jadi semua hal itu harus diikuti.
It was earlier reported that Chief Justice Tun Tunku Maimun Tuan Mat is due to retire on Tuesday, while Court of Appeal President Tan Sri Abang Iskandar Abang Hashim will reach the mandatory retirement age on Wednesday. Federal Court Judge Tan Sri Nalini Padmanathan is also expected to retire in August next year.
Dia tidak automatik. Bila kita bersara, tidak automatik sambung. Dalam keadaan ini, saya ditegur, maknanya ada satu kempen. Mesti sambung ini, jangan sambung ini. Ini maknanya jadi institusi yang patut ada integriti dan bebas itu sudah dipolitikkan.
He emphasized that such pressure from certain quarters is an attempt to politicize the judiciary. Anwar reiterated that he does not interfere with any court decisions.
Saya tidak pernah campur dalam isu penghakiman. Dia apa yang nak putus, itu keputusan mereka. Saya tidak pernah campur. Tapi itu pun dipolitikkan.
In a separate development, Anwar said the government is open to criticisms over the expansion of the sales and service tax, but that such views must be based on facts. He added that the Cabinet's decision to expand the SST was made carefully to ensure it does not burden the majority of the people. The Prime Minister noted that some students had complained about the electricity tariff adjustment, despite the fact that public universities are actually exempt.
Jadi hal-hal ini umpamanya dijadi seba kerana kebebasan itu jadi ruang fitnah, ruang maki hamun. Jadi kena saya harap saudara-saudari, adik-adik kita atau anak-anak kita tolong berikan fakta. Saya tidak ada masalah orang menegur dan mengkritik.
Anwar also explained that one of the reasons for extending the SST to imported fruits is to encourage the consumption and cultivation of local produce. The government, however, remains open to granting tax exemptions if there is a genuine need to do so. On Monday, the Prime Minister also chaired the East Coast Economic Region Development Council, or ECERDC, meeting to review the progress of key performance indicators for the economic corridor. In a social media post, Anwar said the ECERDC successfully recorded 6.4 billion ringgit in realized investments for the first half of 2025. He added that the investments have created over 2,800 employment opportunities so far. Anwar explained that the value of committed investments have reached 10.4 billion ringgit, surpassing the annual target of 10 billion ringgit, with 8 strategic and high-impact projects expected to be completed this year. Ground subsidence has been identified as the cause of the underground pipeline explosion in Putra Heights, Subang Jaya on April 1st. The finding was part of the report prepared by the investigation team comprising several agencies tasked with probing the incident. Speaking at a media conference on Monday, Selangor Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Amiruddin Shari said the investigation team concluded that environmental factors beneath the ground surface were the primary cause of the gas pipeline failure, with metal friction along the pipeline triggering the fire that led to the explosion. The investigation found that ever since the pipeline was commissioned in 2000, the area had experienced 24.3 centimeters of soil subsidence over a period of 25 years. The impact of the subsidence caused the gas pipeline to shift by 15.9 centimeters, with pipe samples showing signs of structural stress and fatigue. As for the investigation into criminal acts such as sabotage or negligence led by the police, it found that no such elements caused the incident. Amiruddin added the state government will establish a special committee to propose follow-up action based on the investigation report into the incident. Aside from reviewing the findings of the probe, the committee will also formulate legal recommendations and preventative measures.
Undang-undang saya masukkan adalah peraturan-peraturan yang boleh dicadangkan kepada pihak kerajaan negeri supaya kita boleh merangka satu langkah-langkah preventif terhadap peristiwa ini ataupun langkah-langkah susulan untuk memastikan peristiwa ini tidak berulang.
The incident, which occurred on the second day of Aidilfitri, completely destroyed 81 houses, while another 81 units and 225 vehicles sustained damage. Additionally, 126 individuals were injured. Firefighters took nearly 8 hours to fully extinguish the blaze, which saw flames shooting up to 30 meters high and temperatures soaring to 1,000 degrees Celsius. The explosion left behind a crater 10 meters deep. Meanwhile, Petronas has identified a segment of its 2,680-kilometer gas pipeline network exhibiting the same issue as that which led to the Putra Heights explosion. Following this, the Department of Occupational Safety and Health said it had instructed that immediate corrective measures be carried out on the affected area.
Kawasan pendek yang kita harapkan pihak Perdana buat untuk kena pasti tempat ataupun lokasi yang sama dekat Putra Heights dan tindakan-tindakan penambahbaikan segera perlu dilakukan. Itu kita telah beri arahan dan pihak Perdana telah kena pasti tempat-tempat tersebut.
In the long run, a series of measures have also been outlined and will be carried out in phases by Petronas. Two Sabah assemblymen and a businessman pleaded not guilty on Monday to corruption charges linked to mineral prospecting licenses in the state. All three claimed trial before Judge Jason Juga at the Special Corruption Court in Kota Kinabalu. According to the charge sheet, Tanjung Batu Assemblyman Dato' Andi Muhammad Suryadi Bandi, who is also Sabah's Industrial Development and Entrepreneurship Assistant Minister, is accused of receiving 150,000 ringgit in bribes from businessman Dato' Tay Jian Cheng on May 12 last year at his residence in Jalan Pantai, Sembulan. Sindumin Assemblyman Dato' Dr. Yusuf Yaakob is accused of accepting 200,000 ringgit from Tay on March 6 last year at a hotel in Kota Kinabalu, while Tay was charged with 2 counts of giving bribes to the assemblyman. The bribes were given as an inducement to facilitate separate license applications to conduct mineral exploration works in Sabah. All charges framed under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission Act carry a maximum jail term of up to 20 years and a fine of no less than 5 times the value of the bribe or 10,000 ringgit, whichever is higher. Andi and Yusuf were each released on bail of 50,000 ringgit with 1 surety, while Tay was granted 60,000 ringgit bail with 1 surety. The court also imposed several conditions on the accused, including reporting to the MACC office every 2 months. The case management has been set on August 5th. Meanwhile, the two assemblymen expressed confidence that they would clear their names through the court process.
Dan melalui proses ini, kami akan membersihkan nama kami melalui mahkamah.
So ini sebagai permulaan lah.
Ya, jadi kami yakin dengan sistem keadilan dan proses mahkamah di negara ini.
Yang menjunjung tinggi kedaulatan undang-undang negara kita dan yakin proses perundangan akan berjalan dengan telus dan baik. Jadi dalam proses inilah saya akan bersama-sama dengan Dr. Yusof.
Meanwhile, the Sabah Chief Minister said his administration will allow the legal process to run its course in relation to the corruption charges involving the Assistant Minister and a GRS assemblyman. In a statement, Dato Sri Hajiji Noor said the status of the Sindumin and Tanjung Batu assemblymen will be reviewed at an appropriate time once all relevant information and reports have been received. Hajiji, who is also GRS chairman, stressed that the state government remains committed to upholding integrity in its administration and governance. Some of the 36 Bangladeshi nationals believed to be directly involved in a radical militant movement based on IS extremist beliefs have been detained under the Security Offences Special Measures Act, or SOSMA. Inspector General of Police Dato Sri Muhammad Khalid Ismail said investigations by Bukit Aman into the individuals are still ongoing.
Setakat ini kita telah menahan 36 warga asing iaitu Bangladesh. Sementara itu ada yang kita simpan dan kita tahan di bawah SOSMA. Selebihnya kita telah usir keluar dan beberapa lagi masih lagi dalam tahanan dan memerlukan siasatan lanjut.
Khalid said further details on the case will be announced at a media conference soon. It was earlier revealed that police had dismantled a radical militant group with the arrest of 36 Bangladeshi nationals suspected of direct involvement in a foreign armed network. The coordinated security operation, which began on April 24th, was carried out in 3 phases in Selangor and Johor. Malaysia's labour market recorded significant improvement in 2024, marking its strongest performance since the pandemic. According to the Department of Statistics Malaysia, unemployment fell to 3.2%, lower than the 3.3% recorded in 2019. The number of unemployed individuals declined to 534,100, driven largely by a drop in unemployment among youths aged 15 to 24. At the same time, the labor force expanded by 3.3%, rising to 16.90 million from 16.37 million in 2023. In terms of employment status, 78.5% of employed persons were categorized as employees, while the number of own account workers increased to 2.52 million, accounting for 15.4% of total employment. The services sector remained the largest source of employment, representing 65.6% of the workforce, followed by the manufacturing sector and the agriculture sector. Meanwhile, the labour market's performance reflects the country's strengthening economic fundamentals and ongoing recovery efforts. The growth is the result of government initiatives aimed at creating a conducive environment for job creation, supporting business recovery and enhancing workforce resilience. Malaysian Industrial, Commercial and Services Employers Association President Alvin Lai Yew Kar attributes the positive growth to collaborations between policymakers, employers and educational institutions in strengthening the resilience of the labour market and the broader economy.
We are seeing stronger alignment between graduate skills and market needs through upskilling, micro-credentials and TWET programs. This has improved job readiness and reduce the gap between education and employment.
Economist Muhammad Afzal Nizam Abdul Rashid believes that this achievement positions Malaysia's economy to continue growing, particularly through private consumption.
Our labour market's in a stable situation, in a good conditions, and the country should be able to withstand any possible uncertainties in respect to the external front.
Malaysia's headline inflation slowed to 1.2% in May compared to 1.4% in April 2025. According to Bank Negara Malaysia, the decline was driven by selected non-core items, including fresh vegetables and petrol, in line with lower commodity prices. Bank Negara said the manufacturing industrial production index registered strong growth of 5.6% in April compared to 4% in March. Export-oriented clusters expanded by 6.4% in April, driven by higher production of both electrical and electronics, as well as consumer-related goods. Furthermore, the central bank said global financial conditions eased in May following the 90-day truce announcement by the U.S. administration. Investors, however, remain cautious amid lingering uncertainties surrounding the tariff developments and risks of a global economic slowdown. Britain's economy grew at its fastest pace in a year in the first 3 months of 2025. In a bounce that isn't expected to be maintained for the rest of 2025, the Office for National Statistics said output grew by 0.70%, confirming a preliminary estimate and the fastest quarterly pace since the first 3 months of 2024. Output grew by 0.7% in the services sector, while production increased by 1.3%, and the construction sector expanded by 0.3%. While the quarterly figure was unrevised, monthly growth was higher than first thought in March at 0.4%, compared with the initial estimate of 0.2%. Perhentian boat skipper remanded over drug abuse. This and more after this breather.
Masalahnya, duit tu semua simpanan aku, bang. Aku dah tak ada apa, bang.
Kita ni anak abah. Kita kena tolong abah.
Datuk stay sini kan?
Ya.
Abi temankan you.
Mama bilang abang macam tu je. Siapa yang tanggung? Abang. Abang ni kena jaga abah dengan adik-adik.
Kahwin? You gila ke?
Pasca Kau Pergi, Isnin hingga Jumaat 7 malam. Di Akasia TV3.
Sangka baik pun boleh jadi buruk kalau ada yang menghasut. Kenapa pilih untuk jadi penghasut? Oh, Komal. Degoyan dah berbunga. Musim durian datang lagi, banyak menu yang boleh kita cuba. Dalam hubungan, pasti ada keinginan untuk memiliki. Tapi jangan sampai kita menakluki. Lelaki pun boleh disabitkan wishes tau. Hati-hati, jangan sampai pasangan kita terasa. Ada, tapi macam tak ada je. Jangan biarkan pasangan kita keseorangan. Semuanya dan banyak lagi di Wanita Hari Ini dan stream sekarang Dituntut.
Wanita Hari Ini.
Terbaharu Dituntut.
Kamu kena kenal siapa musuh kamu, Andra.
Kau jangan nak berpura-pura lah. Hari ni hari kau. Lain kali kau tak akan terlepas.
Aku bagi kau satu tugas. Kalau kau percaya, kau lah yang masukin aku.
Kenapa Papa pisahkan Ais daripada Mama?
Serigala merah dah aniaya ramai orang. Dah hanamkan hidup orang. Kau takkan pernah boleh bawa kemenangan.
Muat turun dan layan tonton sekarang. Semua favourite anda di sini.
Hari ini menu berasaskan buah. Buah pear ni macam-macam benda boleh buat supaya dia ada aroma limau zest kat situ. Perfect. Base dengan mentega dan juga herba serta bawang putih. Dan saya boleh bayang bagaimana keenakan mangga goreng sekejap lagi. Jangan lupa saksikan 5 Rencang 5 Rasa setiap Sabtu 6.30 petang hanya di TV3 dan stream juga melalui Tonton.
We're back with more local news. A cotton factory in Rawang, Selangor was destroyed after a fire broke out on Monday. No injuries were reported in the incident, which took place at Batu 22, Jalan Kundang. The State Fire and Rescue Department dispatched 23 personnel to the scene after an emergency call was received at 10:14 a.m. Upon arrival, firefighters found 90% of the building already engulfed in flames before they successfully brought it under control by 11:25 a.m. The cause of the fire and total losses are still being investigated. The skipper of a boat that capsized near Pulau Perhentian Besar in Terengganu on Saturday has been remanded for 3 days until Wednesday in connection with a drug-related case. The 22-year-old suspect was detained by police after testing positive for drugs following the tragic incident that killed 3 people. Magistrate Norliana Matzukri issued the remand order at the Sitiu Magistrates Court on Monday to assist police investigations under the Dangerous Drugs Act for drug use. Checks also revealed that the suspect has a record of 5 prior criminal offences. In the 10:30 p.m. incident, the boat that the suspect operated, which was carrying 15 passengers, capsized after being hit by strong waves while travelling from Pulau Perhentian Kecil to Pulau Perhentian Besar. The tragedy claimed the lives of 40-year-old S. Armugam, his 3-year-old daughter Sarvika, and a 10-year-old relative V. Venpani. Another child, aged 6, remains in critical condition and is being treated in the intensive care unit of the Sultanah Nur Zahira Hospital in Kuala Terengganu. Meanwhile, one of the survivors, 39-year-old A. Sanggeta, who lost her husband and their youngest daughter in the tragedy, claimed that they had repeatedly asked for the boat operator for life jackets. However, he allegedly refused to provide them, citing the short distance of the journey as the reason. Sanggeta, the wife of the late Armugam, said the group of 15, comprising 4 families, took the boat ride as they wanted to return to their resort on Pulau Perhentian Besar due to the rainy weather.
So kita ambil water taxi yang sama, balik. So kita request dia life jacket, dia cakap basah, tak boleh bagi. Sat saja, lebih kurang dia cakap 10-15 je, sat saja kita boleh sampai, dia cakap. Ya, memang driver tu. So kita kan dewasa 8 orang, kita ada banyak kids.
She was met by reporters at her home in Butterworth, Pulau Pinang on Monday. She said midway through the journey, heavy rain began to pour and the sea turned rough. The boat then started to rock violently before it was eventually capsized by a large wave. Sanggeta and her 9-year-old eldest child were then rescued by a man who witnessed the incident from a nearby jetty. Both victims were taken to a clinic for treatment. She later learned that her husband and youngest daughter had died after gaining access to a phone. Heat wave grips southern Europe. The details when Nightline returns.
Salah satu tikaman di leher memutuskan arteri dan mangsa meninggal dunia.
Mayat tersebut ditemui dalam lubang kumbahan najis.
Suspek yang juga anak bongsu kepada mangsa mengaku menusuk pisau pemotong sayur pada bahagian leher.
Mayat dalam keadaan kaku seperti keadaan bongkok ni.
Sempena ulang tahun TV3 ke-41, projek Dari Layar ke Lensa menampilkan barisan pelakon terkenal yang kini berada di kerusi pengarah. Jana Nik, Susu 5 Kupang. Fatah Amin, Nokta Dosa. Siti Saliha, Bentak Dua Hati. Zahiril Azim, Pencuri Rumah Imam. Akan datang di slot Cewek Lama TV3.
A woman's spirit is boundless. So grab your coffee cups and wear your sassiest smile. Because this season, we're louder than ever. We talk career, health, finance, relationships, and everything in between. Women's Talk is here to empower and inspire you. Join us on Women's Talk every Saturday, 5 p.m. only on TV3 and stream now on Busst.
On to the foreign front. A punishing heat wave gripped southern Europe on Monday, prompting authorities to issue health and wildfire warnings as temperatures are expected to soar again. Spain, Italy, Portugal and France have been sweltering for several days as the mercury climbed to 44 degrees Celsius in some places. Spain's weather service said temperatures in Extremadura and Andalusia had reached up to 44 degrees Celsius, where temperatures approached 40 degrees Celsius in Madrid. In Italy, 21 cities across the length of the country were on high alert for extreme heat, including Milan, Naples, Venice, Florence, Rome and Catania. Hospital emergency departments across the country have reported a 10% increase in heat stroke cases. Meanwhile, several areas in the southern half of Portugal, including Lisbon, were placed under a red warning. 2/3 of Portugal was also on high alert on Sunday for extreme heat and forest fires, as was the Italian island of Sicily, where firefighters tackled 15 blazes on Saturday. France's Toulouse also baked under a sweltering sun as Haute-Garonne, along with 84 other departments, was placed under a heat wave alert. Temperatures may locally exceed 40 degrees Celsius and are not expected to ease until midweek. Palestinians in northern Gaza reported one of the worst nights of Zionist bombardment in weeks after at least 50 airstrikes were launched across the Strip following forced evacuation warnings issued by the Zionist military. Israeli tanks advanced into eastern Gaza City, shelling several districts in the north, while aircraft bombed at least 4 schools after ordering thousands sheltering inside to evacuate. At least 48 Palestinians have also been killed since Monday morning, including 10 who were seeking to collect food at an aid distribution warehouse in the Al Zaytun neighborhood of Gaza City. 2 more aid seekers were reportedly shot dead by the regime near another distribution center in southern Rafah. U.S. authorities have found the body of a lone gunman suspected of starting a wildfire in Idaho and killing 2 firefighters who were tackling the blaze. The suspected shooter was found dead with a firearm on Canfield Mountain in Kootenai County on Monday, following an hour-long standoff as the fire raged. Authorities believe the gunman acted alone using high-powered rifles. The shooter's identity is yet to be released, but authorities are confident that the wildfire and ambush were intentional. The blaze is still burning, but no evacuation orders have been issued so far. Sports football, the 2026 AFC Women's Asian Cup qualification in Tajikistan. The national women's team started their campaign on a high note after defeating Palestine 1-0 in their Group H opener on Sunday. Although the Malayan Tigers started strongly in the first half, the match remained goalless until the 86th minute when Farahia Rizwan calmly slotted home the winner to secure all 3 points. Malaysia will next face host Tajikistan in their next group match on Thursday. Still on football, the 2025 FIFA Club World Cup in the United States. Harry Kane scored twice as Bayern Munich overcame determined resistance from Flamengo to book their place in the quarterfinals with an entertaining 4-2 victory on Sunday. Bayern needed only 6 minutes to take the lead after Eric Pulgar's header flashed into his own net off the far post. Just 4 minutes later, Bayern doubled their lead when Kane fired a powerful low shot into the bottom left corner. Flamengo's Gerson pulled one back in the 33rd minute just for Leon Goretzka to restore Bayern's 2-goal lead before halftime. Flamengo reduced the deficit once again in the 55th minute after Jorginho converted from the penalty spot. Kane put the result beyond doubt late in the second half, sealing an emphatic 4-2 victory. Vincent Kompany's side will now play European champions Paris Saint-Germain for a place in the last four. In another match, PSG steamrollered Lionel Messi's Inter Miami 4-0 to reach the quarterfinals. João Neves opened the scoring 6 minutes into the game after heading in from close range. The Portugal midfielder scored his second goal in the 39th minute, finishing a fine passing move with Bradley Barcola and Fabian Ruiz. PSG added 2 more goals before half-time, with Thomas Aviles scoring in the 44th minute, followed by Achraf Hakimi netting a 4th in stoppage time to secure the 4-0 win. That concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as Hondurans in Tatumbla dressed up their hens and roosters to compete in the Best Dressed Hen contest, celebrating the roosts of their beloved town. With that, I'm Natasha. Busst. Thank you for watching and take care.